Hey guys, it's Elisa. So I wanted to give you another example of how we actually talk about tech in English. And so I'm going to use another article from Wired, which I will put in the description below. If you don't know what Wired is, it is a technology blog. And I've pulled out some sentences, words, and phrases from it that I'm going to go over with you guys. All right, so here we go. So this article is called How to Buy Used Gear on eBay the Smart, Safe Way. I haven't bought anything on eBay in years. If you've ever bought any used technology products on eBay, let me know. Tell me how it went. All right, so let's get into, we're not going to go over the whole article, but let's get into some of the phrases that are used. So one of the first things that it says in this article, actually the very first thing that it says is, gracefully avoid sketchy situations and score a deal on the post-holiday gadget turnover. All right, so let's talk about the word sketchy. So when something is sketchy, it's not above board. It's a little vague. There aren't a lot of details, and it feels wrong. It feels like it's a little dishonest or disreputable or just not right. Like, this deal seems a little too good. So if you think about it, you're buying something on eBay, you don't know who you're buying it from. People are putting up pictures, they're setting prices, and sometimes you come across a deal and you're like, oh, I've been wanting this. Oh, and this is such a good price. And you're like, is this legitimate? And so you'll read the description and maybe you'll find out a little bit more about the person selling it just to make sure that they are not sketchy. So sketchy, dishonest, disreputable, not a lot of details, really vague. When something is sketchy, you usually don't know 100% that there's something wrong, but you get that feeling. You have that feeling, you know, the hair on the back of your neck, that feeling where you're like, ooh, this doesn't feel right. And maybe you do it anyway. We often do it anyway, because you don't have proof that something's wrong. It just doesn't seem like everything's right. You can definitely have sketchy neighborhoods, and so, you know, that really just depends on what you're used to. So to you, it just feels unsafe. It's all that means when we talk about sketchy, when we're talking about a place. You could call a whole country sketchy if you wanted to. It's not very nice. Sketchy is definitely a negative word, and we're definitely like, something's not right here. You can have sketchy people. So a sketchy person is someone who seems dishonest. You don't know 100% for a fact that they are dishonest, but it really seems like they are. Yeah, it's not looking good with their honesty level. They're sketchy. So you might say something like, actually, I was walking down a street in London once at night, and this woman came up to me and said, hey, you might want to cross the street. There's this guy up there, and he seems a little sketchy. So he just seems like there's something not right. It seems like he's dishonest. And in this case, dishonest, like he seems like he's up to no good. It seems like he might have bad intentions. She doesn't know, but he gave her a feeling that just made it feel like, she just felt like he wasn't safe. So unsafe that she thought she should warn me. And I did cross the street. So, you know, in that case, that's one of the ways that you can use sketchy. And it's just like you get a feeling where just something is off. Something is not okay. Something is negative. Now, when you're talking about a place, calling a place sketchy, you might be being rude, honestly. Because remember, you don't know that there's anything wrong. Basically, it just means when you call a place sketchy, it usually just means they have less money. They're more poor than what you are used to. So in that case, you're really just passing judgment and you're not being very kind. But in the other ways that we use sketchy, it's just like you get a feeling that just something's not right. Score a deal is something else that was in that sentence. So to score a deal just means you get a deal. You get something at a really good price. You get something really amazing. The price is good. You're really happy. It is not sketchy. Yeah, you just got something at a good price. So you can definitely score a deal during the holidays. There are so many sales going on. You can definitely score the best deals after the holidays, after New Year's. Because then if they haven't sold it during the holidays, they're just like, take it. They're giving it away. That's where you can get some really good deals on clothes. Just saying. Just letting you know you can score a deal. So then this sentence also talks about gadget turnover. Gadget turnover is not like a phrase that you just hear people talking about on the street, but it makes a lot of sense. And you will hear people say it from time to time. And so gadget turnover, so gadget is just some sort of electronic device, a phone, a computer, a TV, I don't know, an exercise bike, just some sort of technological device. And gadget turnover just means I owned this, I didn't use it that much, I'm done with it now, maybe I got a new one and now I'm selling it. So I'm turning it over. And so it's just a matter of people are selling their old stuff. It might not be that old. It might be only a year old. It could be a few months old, and maybe they just got something better, or they just decided they didn't like it. Or, sometimes you sell something so that you can buy something else. And so that's just what we're talking about when we talk about the gadget turnover. We're just talking about people selling their electronics or people buying used electronics. And this happens a lot during the holidays because you get new things or because you want to sell something so that you can buy whatever the newest, latest, greatest thing is. So literally the first line of this article says, the post-holiday season is a great time to buy used electronics. So post anything, post-holiday season in this case just means after the holidays. So post-game is definitely something that you hear a lot. With sports, there's a lot of times there's a post-game show, and so that just means the show that happens after the game. There's a pre-game show too, and that's the show that happens before the game. So post just means after. So later in the article, it says, there are deals to be found in the used market, but unfortunately, there are plenty of scams as well. Scams. So let's talk about this word. So this is what happens when you thought you scored a good deal, but it was truly a sketchy deal. And so a scam is just something that is dishonest. It's fraud. It's not real. They told you you were getting one thing, but you actually got something else. So when something is a scam, it is deliberate. It is intentional. The person who sold this to you knew that they were advertising one thing. They were telling you you were going to get one thing, and they knew they were giving you something else. They did it on purpose, and they did it to get your money. And it's usually hard to get your money back if you have been scammed. So sometimes you'll get emails, those Nigerian prince emails that were going around, like, what was that, like 10, 15 years ago, where they would send you an email and, oh, I want to give you all of this money. You just have to, do this one little thing. It was totally a scam. You were never going to get the money, and they were just using it to get access to your bank account. There are a bunch of text messages out there that you get that are scams. I want to give you a loan for this amount of money. All you have to do is this. Nope. Scam. So they are scams are always trying to get your money. They're always trying to get your money. So sometimes they're going to try and get your money by promising you money. Sometimes they're going to try and get your money by promising you a product that you really want, but they're really going to send you something that's totally different and worth nothing or very little. So maybe you want to get some sort of device that is normally $1,000, but there's this deal. There's this deal for $500, and you're like, wow, I'm gonna get this thing that I really want. I'm gonna get this great discount. I'm gonna score this deal. But it seems a little sketchy because the price is so good. Oh, but I really want it. And you buy it anyway. And then it comes in the mail, and it turns out that this thing that you thought was worth $1,000 and that you paid $500 for is not what you thought it was. It's actually something that's only worth $100. So they scammed you. They scammed you out of $500. You gave them $500 and they gave you something worth $100. They scammed you. This happens a lot. And you can imagine that if you're buying something off of a website from people that you don't know, that's not like a company. Probably happens all the time. Anyone ever been scammed? Tell me your story if you have. Sometimes you can get scammed by paying more for something than you should. So maybe there's this product out there that's worth $1,000 and they're selling it for $1,500 and you buy it. So you could have gone to a store and got it for $1,000. Maybe the store was out. I don't know. Maybe they weren't. Maybe you just didn't look. You paid $1,500. So they got $1,500 off you. So you were scammed in that way too. So it can go anything that involves taking your money. That's part of a scam. If they're stealing money from you by giving you something or promising you something, yeah, it's a scam. If you're looking at phones or laptops, know the specs of each configuration and make sure the items listed match what you want. All right, so let's talk about what configuration means. So configuration talks about the elements or the parts of something, and it talks about how it's laid out. So if you think about the newest iPhone versus an iPhone from 10 years ago, things are going to be in different places. It will have a lot of the same parts, but they're going to be in different places. They might be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. You might get to them in a different way. That's the configuration, how it's laid out, how they put everything together. So it's all about how everything is organized. So like if you have a laptop that is the 2-in-1s and you can also use it as a tablet, that's part of its configuration. That's part of how the parts are laid out. Maybe you have one that has one of those stylus pens. So that's part of it too. That's one of the parts, and it's all about how it's laid out. And usually when you are looking at laptops, you're looking at how things are configured, how things are laid out. You're of course looking at the specifications of something, like how much RAM it has, but you're also looking at where everything is. How easy is it to use? Do you like the way it looks? All of these things go into the configuration. The hardware is also part of the configuration, so that's not necessarily how it looks. But how everything is placed can change the look of something, and it can change its performance as well. And so in this article, it's just saying beware of how something is configured. Make sure it is configured in the way that you want it to be. Make sure it's laid out in the way that you want it to be. If you're at the store, anytime you go to a store looking at different phones, you can see how everything is laid out just a little bit differently. A lot of the specifications can be very similar, but often they are configured a little bit differently. Another thing they say is prices fluctuate. So let's talk about fluctuate. So fluctuate just means something goes up and down. And it goes up and down pretty frequently. How often it goes up and down, I don't know. That's going to completely depend on what you're talking about. That's something that is relative. But if you think about like the price of Bitcoin or of any cryptocurrency, that is something that fluctuates. It goes up and down. That's why you can make so much money trading it, because the price goes up and down a lot. So you can make money on it moving. All currencies fluctuate a decent amount. So that's just going up and down. It doesn't speak to how high or how low it goes, just to the fact that it goes up and down. If you know a person who's a little moody, sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're sad, sometimes they're laughing, sometimes they're crying, their mood fluctuates. It goes up and down. So in this case, they're talking about the prices of technological devices fluctuating. Prices will go up and down. In this case, they're warning you prices fluctuate, so just be aware of what prices are. But I think anybody who's kind of looking at things technology-wise, you will see that prices definitely can fluctuate, especially now depending on how much supply there is. So depending on how much is available, prices can fluctuate a lot. Prices can fluctuate when you go from country to country. All of this kind of plays into it. So fluctuating or going up and down, fluctuating prices are moving, prices are changing a lot. So apparently there are websites where you can go to check the configuration and check the current prices so that you don't get scammed by some sketchy deal. And as this article talks about it, they say this. For example, adding parts will get rid of iPad Air parts, and adding as is will get rid of broken iPads. So let's talk about the term as is. So this is used in way more than just buying technology products on eBay. This is used in real estate a lot. This is used when buying anything. And as is just means you're going to buy something just as it is. I'm not going to make any changes. I'm going to sell this to you. I'm not changing anything. Don't ask me to change anything. It is what it is. You're buying it as is. If you later find out that there are problems, it's not my problem. It's your problem. It's yours now. Because I'm telling you that I'm letting you buy this in its current condition, in its current state, the way that it is. There might be something wrong. There might not be. That doesn't mean it's sketchy. That does not mean that as is sketchy. There is a little bit of a risk to as is because something could be wrong with it. Now, somebody who is reputable, somebody who is honest, if they know there's something wrong with it, they will tell you. And most people will. If most people are like, hey, I'm selling this as is, keep in mind that this and this is wrong with it. A lot of people will do that. So just because something is as is does not mean it's sketchy. In real estate, when a house is being bought as is, it means you can inspect it if you want to, but if you find something wrong with the house, if you're going to buy it, it's your problem. I'm not changing it. I'm not fixing it. I'm not doing new carpet. I'm not painting. I'm not giving you a new heater or a new roof. You are buying it the way that it is. I'm not changing anything. Now, a lot of times, certainly in real estate, when you're buying a house, when you buy something as is, the price is a little bit lower a lot of times. Not always, but a lot of times because they know that they're not going to make any changes. Now, when it comes to these devices, when you're buying something as is, it probably means there's not going to be a guarantee. There's not going to be a warranty. If something goes wrong, it goes wrong. So maybe there's nothing wrong with it right now, but maybe in 2 months it starts to break down because maybe it's a little bit older. Well, you bought it as is. There's no warranty. There's no guarantee. This is what it is. It's just like this. I'm not going to fix it later. If something goes wrong, I'm not going to give you your money back because you bought it like it is right now, in its current state, in its current condition, as is. All right, so this is our last one for this article. So it says, depending on the item, how old it is, and how sought after it is, you may have to adjust your search a little bit. So let's talk about sought after. Sought after just talks about how in demand it is. It talks about how much people want it, how much people are looking for it. So if it's like the latest iPhone that just came out, usually those are pretty sought after. Usually people really, really, really want them, and a lot of people are trying to buy one. So if it's something that's really sought after, you might have to pay a little more money. If it's something that's not really sought after that much, you might be able to get a better deal. You might be able to score a good deal. So it just kind of depends. So when we talk about something being sought after, we're just saying a lot of people are looking for it. A lot of people are interested. A lot of people want it. It can be technology. It can be anything. It can be a person. A person can be sought after. A lot of people want to date her. So she's really sought after, which would be a weird way to describe yourself, but people absolutely describe other people in that way all the time. It's pretty common. But yeah, so something can be sought after, or it can be not sought after. It can be highly sought after, or it can be this was sought after, but people don't really care about it anymore. Alright, so that is it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And please hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the videos that I have coming out. Bye!